All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm Josh.
And I'm John, and this is 4 Point Play.
And today we're going to be talking about the Rookie of the Year. There's really just two contestants that we think have a shot at winning it. And there's a lot of people that had a shot, I think, at the start of the year, but at this point, they're kind of fallen out of the race.
So those honorable mentions are Kyle Kuzma, Dennis Smith Jr., Lauri Markkanen, Jason Tatum, and Lonzo Ball.
And then for our two top picks of the Rookie of the Year, we have Ben Simmons and Donovan Mitchell. I do personally think Ben Simmons is going to win it. He has so much hype and everything surrounding him, coming from LSU and now him being his second year in the NBA, technically speaking. Everyone was so ready to watch him play, and I think he's definitely lived up to the hype. But I think Donovan Mitchell has definitely proved himself within the NBA. He's definitely gotten the attention of a lot of spectators and athletes in the NBA already. He can shoot the ball really well. He attacks the rim. He can create plays. He's not known for it, but he does create them. And he's also a pretty good defender. So I think he's definitely should be in the conversation for it. But I know that you have a different opinion towards that.
Right. I mean, in my opinion, Mitchell's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a really good player. However, I just think Ben Simmons is that much better. So for me, when you compare Mitchell and Simmons, Simmons just adds so much more in terms of defense. He's that much better. Offense, Mitchell technically has a little bit of an edge in advanced stats, but when you combine the two, because Simmons isn't far behind on offense, but when you combine the two, Simmons is that much better. That's what I think.
I think that the one thing that I think you're undervaluing from Donovan Mitchell's game is the fact that he can extend the court. He's such a good three-point shooter, especially as a rookie. He's only shooting like 33% from the three-point, but as a rookie, that's pretty impressive. I know Jason Tatum's shooting a lot higher, but he's shooting pretty difficult three-point shots, and he's getting the looks he wants, and it's just going to take a year or two maybe just for him to get used to it and get better. But I think Donovan Mitchell is also a really good passer, and I don't think his stats necessarily show it. He makes a lot of plays for his team, and I know Ben Simmons averages 7 assists a game, but Donovan Mitchell does do a lot for his team in terms of creating plays. And
7.9 assists. I mean, yeah, but when I look at it, even though Mitchell has that range, he can shoot threes better than Simmons can so far in his career. Like this season, Simmons hasn't made one. So he can extend the court. But when you look at like true shooting percentage, which takes into account the fact that 3-pointers are worth more than 2-pointers, and it takes into fact free throws, which is something that Ben had to work on coming into the season, Ben Simmons is still higher than Donovan Mitchell's. So even though he's not able to shoot with the range, he looks for a more efficient shot. He's always looking for what's going to be the best shot here. And with shooters like JJ Redick, Robert Covington, and Dario Saric, they should be the ones taking 3-pointers, not necessarily him, right?
Yeah, fair enough. I think the one thing that Donovan Mitchell definitely brings in terms of like a threat in offense, that's is the spacing. Because when Ben Simmons is off the ball, he's not as much of a threat. Where Donovan Mitchell, if you're guarding him and he's off the ball, you still have to be constantly looking, because if he cuts back door, he's going to get a lob. Or even if you just look away for a second, he takes the slightest step to the right, it's going to be a 3-pointer. And Ben Simmons doesn't have that edge on players, so it's a little. You're going to live with Ben Simmons shooting threes, whereas if Donovan Mitchell starts heating up from three, you're going to have a problem the rest of the night.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't want Ben Simmons to cut back door on me either. But yeah, no, Simmons definitely doesn't have that 3-point threat. However, most of the time he's on ball. So he's usually driving and kicking out or something like that. Usually that's what he does. Or running in transition. So those are times when he has the ball, and that's when he's scariest, in my opinion.
Man, another thing that the Jazz have that the Sixers don't is they have another playmaker. So the Sixers, Ben Simmons is the primary playmaker, whereas the Jazz, it's Ricky Rubio. So Donovan Mitchell doesn't need to create plays because they have someone who they already know is not a good scorer. Ricky Rubio's shown us that for his career. He's not a very good scorer, not a very great shooter. So Donovan Mitchell has taken over that. I'm going to be a scorer. I'm going to be the guy that we go to every offensive play. So
Just because the assists don't show doesn't mean he doesn't have
yeah,
playmaking
yeah,
ability.
he can still. Yeah, there we go.
That's a fair point. However, Simmons is only scoring 3 less points a game and is almost doubling his rebounds and assists. So if you're looking at counting stats only, Simmons is blowing Mitchell out of the water, in addition to the advanced stats as well. So, I mean, it's just hard for me to look at Mitchell versus Simmons and the results that they've produced and say that Mitchell should be the rookie of the year.
Yeah, and then another thing that we talked about this before we started shooting was that Donovan Mitchell's record with and without Gobert, and that you think that it's an issue. I think that it's not necessarily fair to put a rookie in the point where he has to just win games single-handedly, especially when Rudy Gobert, he's their big man. They don't really have anybody else, so he protects the rim and grabs rebounds. So I think they were struggling without him, but I'm pretty sure that when they went on that 11-15 game without Gobert, they started out struggling and then they actually picked it up and continued to play well without him. So I think it's just for the first bit of that stretch was just growing pains, and then once they started getting going, Donovan Mitchell's continued to dominate, and now they're just killing the league.
Right, and I mean, the reason I brought it up is because that's a big argument that I've seen for Mitchell as Rookie of the Year is that, he's, winning without Gobert, like he's doing it. He's not, or that Simmons wasn't the best player on his team, and Mitchell was. Was what some people were saying, and I just feel like Gobert is definitely the best player on that team. If he had played the whole season, he's definitely Defensive Player of the Year, and he just adds so much to that team. And so, like you were saying, their stats without him, they went 11 wins, 15 losses, but with him in the lineup, they're 22 wins and 3 losses, which is pretty crazy, difference. So I feel like he adds a lot. And so you can't just say that Ben Simmons isn't the best player on his team, because neither is Donovan Mitchell. They're both very good players, but neither one is the best player on their team. So that's the argument that I've been seeing a lot of, but I feel like it goes both ways for both of them.
Yeah, like I said at the start of the video, I do still think Ben Simmons is going to win Rookie of the Year. He is a phenomenal basketball player. He is going to probably be a future MVP and a future just force to be reckoned with. I think the Sixers have a really good and bright future ahead of them, and I think they could maybe win a ring or two later on in their careers. Either one of them, Donovan Mitchell or Ben Simmons. So
let us know what you guys think in the comments.
If there's anyone else that you guys think deserves Rookie of the Year more than either of them, let us know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and see you.